Market is filled with uncertainty at this point in time, and genuinely people across the timeline are wondering, have we peaked for this cycle? I really do not think so. I'm going to go over in this video why I think price is being suppressed, show you that the big money is buying this dip, which is why I am too. I'm looking across the board on altcoins, and just looking over the last few weeks, you are looking at discounted prices really across the board aside from a few alts. So in this video, I'm going to go over my bull thesis, why I still think late October will be very good for Bitcoin, November will be really good for altcoins, and on top of that, I'll give my top picks for what I am DCAing at this time, and a narrative that I think next week could really springboard. We recently saw BNB, we had an ETH season early September and during the August time periods when ETH was running up towards all-time highs. I think that this narrative is going to blow up this next week, and I'll go over exactly why in this video. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Let's just jump right into it. There's not a lot going on in the market. We're really just trending sideways. However, there's a couple notes I want to make regarding a couple projects, and it's just overall about the market and where we're headed. But first and foremost, guys, drop down below, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel for more. We're coming at you every single week with all of the news and updates, alpha in the market to help you win this bull cycle. So like and subscribe down below. As well, a big shout out to our sponsors down below in the description. We have Nexus, Gravity, ZK Sync, as well as Blowfin, and also 𝗓𝗏𝗏. And I want to give a big shout out today to Blowfin because during last week's liquidations, they actually decided to take the loss instead of their customers. So while everyone was really in turmoil, a lot of people lost their entire trading accounts. Our partners over at Blowfin actually came in and took the liquidation from their clients and prevented the liquidation. So this is an exchange that is definitely for the people. They have no KYC and some of the best sign-up bonuses in the entire industry. So if you're looking for a safe, secure, and also a widespread centralized exchange that you can use anywhere in the world, no restrictions, I would check out Blowfin down below. We have some crazy sign-up offers for you in the description down below. And just a big shout out to Blowfin. Most exchanges would not do something like this for their customers. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the market, as right now, like I said, we are just trending sideways. And a lot of people are uncertain. Currently, it does feel like people just have so much pent up PTSD really from the last cycles of missing the tops or just not timing it correctly. And let's just keep it 100% real. Nobody is going to time the exact bottom and the top, but we can have an outlook at where the market's at. And historically, history doesn't repeat, but it does often rhyme. There are a lot of trends that still show us we are in a bull market. And I think going into the next month, as well just over the next 45 days, I think are a very good time to be accumulating positions. Let's just take a look. Right now, obviously, a lot of red across the market, but currently we see Ray Dalio saying, I want to steer away from debt assets and have some hard money like gold and Bitcoin. We see right here Larry Fink saying we're just at the beginning of tokenization of all assets. Moving on from there, we see gold reaching a new all-time high. And if this gold run does kind of cool down, I think you're going to see money flipping into Bitcoin, the digital gold, quote unquote. And on top of that, it is usually at the end of the cycle where people make their worst decisions. And I don't think the liquidation event on Friday fits into that criteria. The bottom of the bear is where people make the most money, but this first line is really what resonates. It's usually at the end of the cycle where people make their worst decisions. The liquidation thing was that was cyclical. That was probably piece of manipulation. It was just that was an event that was unpredictable. I don't really think that factors into decision making. However, I do think that we still have so much upside moving forward. First and foremost, we see no more rate cuts or no more tightening actually. So we see the Fed Reserve Governor Stephen Moran saying there's 2 more interest rate cuts this year. That is very bullish, as that just, we've been looking for these rate cuts for quite some time. So definitely looking forward to that. And then on top of that, the trends, especially from last cycle, we actually saw the lows of Bitcoin dominance here in November, not October. So while October really was a Bitcoin trend in certain altcoin sectors last time around. We actually saw November being the best month for altcoins, and at that point in time, Bitcoin was already pretty much more or less near that all-time high. So definitely keeping an eye on Bitcoin dominance, and really just moving forward, if we get bullish news on the tariffs, if China and the US come to another agreement, that would be massive. I just think right now, this is the time to be buying. Big money institutions are scooping up this dip, and I am too. So there's a few things I want to cover. First and foremost, shout out to anyone who bought the lows on 𝗏. I mean, this thing has been an absolute machine. 𝗏 is the #1 AI coin in the market, and on top of that, it is the full-blown leader of the recovery from last Friday. Let's just go look at even 𝗏 today on a dip. 𝗏's sitting at 425. It's up 25% on the weekly time period and 25% on the monthly as well. And if that liquidation event didn't take it out that day and bring it down to these lows and then have to repump, I think we'd be even higher than where we are currently. So big shout out to anyone who holds 𝗏. This has been a nice run, and I definitely think AI is one of those narratives that's about to get a lot of attention. Look, we see the AMD, NVIDIA, all that stuff going on, OpenAI valuations. I've seen this offered, as far as like a pre-IPO type of thing. So I think AI is definitely heating up, and 𝗏 leads that narrative. So definitely something I am incredibly bullish on at this point in time. And just looking across the market, I think you still have crazy good opportunities across stuff like Hyperliquid, 𝗬𝗎, Avalanche. Those are still not even close to where they were whenever we saw that event on Friday that took these tokens down, 80% at certain points in time. On top of that, there's an ecosystem that I'm really bullish on in the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to keep this video short and sweet because I think it's pretty straightforward. And like I said, there's not a lot to talk about in the market right now other than upcoming opportunities and really just trying to spot the trends. So recently we saw BNB season. And if you're not familiar, this last week, really the last 2 weeks since Aster launched, the BNB takeover was in full effect. I mean, this chart up until this point here and then right after the liquidation event, this thing was dominating crypto, but not just BNB. We saw Aster, we saw PancakeSwap, we saw all of these different narratives within BNB making massive runs because meme coins were running, different dexes and stuff like that. So this is what happens whenever you can spot trends and narratives early. When Aster came out, it was pretty obvious that BNB on chain was probably about to pick up a ton of steam. But moving forward, I think that there's a chain that is about to get a big liquidity injection. And I think a few tokens could really benefit from this. And we are talking about Solana. Now, Solana, obviously, we've seen a couple seasons over the course of time, obviously 2021 when we saw the revival from $9 up to $200. But on top of that, we saw the meme coin game, the meme coin casino that really rocketed Sol. When we look at the yearly chart here, we can see when Sol got up to these levels, that's the day that Trump launched. It was at $270. So people were really bullish and using Solana every single day. This has become the de facto chain for meme coin liquidity. But most importantly, we're about to get a big stimulus event over here. And I think, and just speculating here, because this has not played out yet, but just looking at the tea leaves, I do think that this is going to be one of the next narratives to really take back over. We've seen ETH season, we've seen BNB season, but I think Solana has to throw their hat back in the ring here and have a big splash. And the splash that I'm talking about is the Meteora TGE, the final boss PvE trade. Now, this is not only bullish because on the channel, a lot of you guys who have followed this channel for a while should have allocation. Go check out the Meteora page, check out your points. If you have any season 1 points, you have qualified for this airdrop. I mean, and myself, I have 100 million points across multiple wallets. I think in total like 330 million points. I'm expecting a really solid airdrop here. But on top of that, they're looking to really stimulate the trenches here because a lot of people who use Meteora they would use it to farm liquidity fees from new meme coin pairs, stuff like 𝗏𝗏, 𝗏𝗏, MLG, Trump, etc. So the Meteora TGE will be a pivotal moment for Meteora, and I think for Solana. We'll talk about that in a second. And the debut of the most revolutionary token launch ever. We know you've been waiting. The Meteora launch pool range plus the answer to the ultimate question. The airdrop checker goes live tomorrow, Thursday, October 16th. But right now, what you can do is you can actually take your allocation and immediately LP it. So it'll DCA you out as it continues to go up, but on top of that, you make trading fees on top of this. I expect the fees to be insane whenever this launches. And as you can see here, the initial price is 500 million FDV. Max price is 7.5 billion FTV. So you're looking at a really lucrative opportunity here. If you have this, you're going to be able to choose if you just want to claim it, if you want to stake it. So the checker goes live on the 16th, and we'll probably end up talking more about this, my airdrop strategy for Meteora, because I think, you know, how we all play this is going to be very important. There's going to be impermanent loss. Will the fees be worth it? It's going to be very saturated. And like we see here, Soju from Meteora saying, the future will be tokenized. If you believe in Solana, crypto, internet capital markets, you should already believe in Meteora, as it is the backbone of this movement. And I agree 1000% on this. But on top of that, I just think this could stimulate Solana quite a bit. I think obviously if they have, Solana hasn't had an airdrop like this really in a long time, and especially in the quote unquote trenches ever. We just saw BNB, you know, go ahead and put hundreds of million in refunds on their exchange on Binance. They gave out $45 million in compensation to people who lost on meme coins on chain. But we've never seen Pump Fund hadn't done an airdrop yet. Photon, BullX, Axiom, none of these trading bots or quote unquote trench platforms have ever done anything to actually give back to the Solana community. And look, do they owe the Solana community? No project owes anyone anything, right? That's the whole thing about this market. Like, we're all here to speculate. It's crypto. Everything can go to zero. Projects owe you nothing. Like, it is just one of those environments. And unfortunately, that's the nature of the game. However, Meteora sees the opportunity here to be that one that stimulates the trenches, gives back to people who have been loyal, traded meme coins, but most importantly, use the LPs on their platform. But I think this money can trickle in to certain Solana ecosystem projects. Obviously, first and foremost, Sol. I think this is an easy trade. I think a lot of money people who claim their Meteora and just take profits, I think they're going to probably either stable it up or go into Solana. So Solana, I think, is definitely loaded up for a pretty decent run coming up. So I'm probably going to be stacking under 200 here. And look, the market is so uncertain that we could go a little lower, but I'm willing to take these stabs at these prices because under $200 Solana, if we just look at over the yearly time period, I don't think we're going to get as bearish as this. I mean, April, when we got down to 106, that's pretty rough, right? So over the course of the last 3-4 months, we haven't traded below that level. So this is definitely a good DCA price. And probably if you want to put in some sort of a leverage position, I would do small leverage, make sure your liquidation price needs to be super low after what we just saw. But for me, I'm doing spot here. So I'm going to be accumulating Solana before this airdrop. But on top of that, you know, they're partnered up, Meteora's partnered up with Jupiter. Jupiter absolutely crushes it, and they're talking about changes to their Jupiter token. We see the Jupiter LP token, which has basically been up only. This is like a cheat code in crypto, this coin, as over time, we can just go to the all chart here. This is made to pay back people who basically stake their Jupiter. This is the 𝗪𝗛𝗪𝗔 LP. And this chart is, like I said, literally like a cheat code in crypto. It just goes up. It's up 311% all time, and it's a slow grind, but it is a very, very consistent asset. You could play that game. You could play the Jupe game. You could play the Radium game. You could probably go Pump. You could go Solana. I think that this could bring a lot of liquidity back to the trenches and a lot of attention back on Solana, whereas right now, Aster just did that for BNB, I think that Meteora could do it for Solana. And just in general, we see Solstice, a big stable coin, like an Athena type of thing, about to launch on Solana. I think Solana has a lot of things cooking underneath the surface that are probably about to come out, and I think attention will shift back to Sol in the coming weeks. And then just looking across the market, we see stuff like 𝗧𝗏𝗅g. 𝗧𝗏𝗅g's rebrand comes out at 6 a.m. my time tomorrow, so tomorrow we'll probably cover what this entails. I know AI is on the table. They've been teasing AI. We have buybacks potentially on the table, so I'm definitely looking forward to their rebrand update. And on top of that, we have American football coming to football.fun. This is going to be rebranded to sport.fun. American football is the most fun watch sport in the USA, and they will have an airdrop here. So when this comes out, we'll talk about how to farm the fun airdrop, but also we have pretty good information that people who use football.fun or sport.fun will get allocated and earn towards the base airdrop, which obviously is going to be one of the biggest of the cycle. So there's a lot of stuff to be excited about. And I tweeted this today. Let me just go to my profile here. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, I think the link's down below in the description. But I said, whether the markets are up, down, sideways, there's literally hundreds of opportunities at every time in the market. Airdrop farming, trading, LPs, DeFi, whatever the case is. You can find a million activities on chain. And definitely during the slow times is when you should be doing this. These slow periods will prepare you for the euphoric times. I've seen this time and time again. Every single time that the market goes down, I just start diving into platforms, making sure I'm allocated on airdrops, making sure that when the free money starts coming out this cycle, which it will, we have about 50 airdrops coming out over the next 3 months, you're going to be prepared for it during these times. So right now, I'm DCAing selectively. Like I said, stuff like really just majors, and then 𝗧𝗏𝗅g would be my low cap play. Majors, I think Sol's going to go on a run pretty soon. I'm looking forward to the Meteora airdrop. I'm looking at 𝗬𝗏, AVAX, Hype, very discounted from before Friday. So keeping it straightforward, keeping it simple. I'm just looking at the prices from Friday to now and seeing easy catch-up trades in that regard. So like the video down below, subscribe to the channel. Do you think Solana is going to go on a run whenever the trenches finally get a stimulus with Meteora? Could you see a Solana comeback as far as narrative? And then what coins are you scooping up during this dip? Are you generally bullish? I think the outlook here is incredibly bullish, but we just have to get over this little bit of a choppy period. So guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys on the next one. As always, play well, my friends, trade responsibly, and of course, stay bullish, my friends.